you are going to have, before we finish the semester, we've done forms of business. Today we're going to do what's called the basic business equation. Then we're going to do ethics. Then we'll do management. Then we'll do marketing. Then we'll do human resources. We might do accounting. We're going to do 10 or 12 things. Right? 10 or 12 things. And you need a cheat sheet. You need an Excel spreadsheet or a legal size piece of paper turned sideways and write these across the board that I'm putting across the board, and I'll put them across the board every class to keep reminding you. Underneath, we'll put just tips. All right? Partnership, corporation, 5 decision makers. Now, if you open your midterm and you pull your cheat sheet and you read the facts, and it's about, 4 Newberry College football players that graduated and they want to start a business making football helmets, and one's got $1 million and one's got $100,000 and 2 of them have student loans. Tell me about this. Okay, so that's a form of business issue. So you put this is a form of business issue. And you do just like we've done in here live and you've done on your first practice test. I'm going to add issues all semester long. And every time I add an issue, it's another layer of your test. It's like another paragraph, if you want to look at it that way. Okay? So we've done forms of business. Today, we're going to do the basic business equation. Every business, it doesn't matter if it's Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Krispy Kreme or Starbucks, every business has the same equation all over the world. All right? Profit equals revenue minus expenses. Now, what is profit? Profit is money. And why do we want profit? That's why we're in business. That's why we're in business school. That's why we're not majoring in sociology. All right? We're majoring in business because we want to make money. And profit is the amount of money that you've made. So how do you make profit? What is revenue? What's the revenue? All right, give you sales. Any kind of money in. Could be a contribution, could be an investor, whatever. When revenue goes up, when you have more sales than you did last month or last year, when revenue goes up, what happens to profit? Profit goes up. Now, what are expenses? Things you have to pay for. Like what?
Like if you need machinery for a plant, you have to pay for that as an expense.
Okay, machinery. What's the biggest expense? Salary, workers, labor. Utilities, lease. There could be 100 ways to increase revenue and 100 ways to decrease expenses. What happens when you decrease expenses? Revenue goes up. Profit goes up. When you decrease expenses, profit goes up. Now, if you're really lucky and you're a really good business person, and you can increase revenue in the same quarter, in the same year, that you can decrease expenses, then your profits are going to really start rolling in, right? Your profits are really going to start rolling in if you can increase revenue and decrease expenses. Now, this business equation, what do you do in business? What kind of business, what is business for? You can have satellites, you can have making airplanes in North Charleston, you can make cars in Spartanburg, you can make tires in Greenville, all right? You can make, you can make igloos in Norway, I mean, whatever you want to make, all right? But everything, all business, boils down to two things. Two things. You either make stuff or you do stuff. That's goods and services. And when I was practicing law, I had 8 people working for me. I was the only lawyer, and we had a little company, and we provided a service, and people would pay me to do something. But there, you could go to an auto mechanic, and you're paying him to do something. Right? You can go to an insurance company, and I need health insurance for 1,000 employees. They're doing something. It's a service. You can make donuts in downtown Newberry, okay, or you can make satellites for space, and you're making something. Everything is either a goods or a services. And I want you to learn how to think simply. Think simply. Whether it's me or whether it's another professor, if we give you a business is doing, you're taking accounting, and your accounting professor gives you a problem, and you've got to work out the accounting problem. Another good example is economics. I tutor people in economics because nobody knows how to do economics. And if you're doing an economics problem, you put yourself in the problem. If they're talking about what do you do with this, what do you do with that, say, okay, I'm working in McDonald's, and I'm making 50 hamburgers an hour, and they want me to make 60 hamburgers an hour. How does economics do that? Okay, it's called, well, the economy's good, so we got more customers. That's economics. Right? Keep it simple. Keep it simple. And so when somebody gives you a problem in one of your other classes, if you're taking health management and Professor Parks, if you wake up long enough to hear him and he says that he gives you a problem with a hospital that's got 1,000 patients, okay, don't get confused. They're giving a service. It's a service. And they want to make a profit. How are they going to make a profit? You raising your hand or stretching?
Stretching.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's dangerous.
Sorry.
All right. So I give you an exam that requires you to form a business. And you're forming a business. What's the last one I gave? The 3 nurses? Is that what it was? Yeah. All right. The 3 nurses are going to go do home health. And they're going to go to the homes to provide that care. And so you tell me I think there ought to be a corporation because of liability, or you say I think there ought to be a partnership because they're all good friends, and you talk about capital. All right. Now, when you finish that paragraph, when you finish that test, you say this is also a basic business issue. So, so your test is going to be you see this either? You have memorandum at the top. We're going to use the APA. This is a form of business issue, blah, blah, blah. This is also a basic business equation issue. The nurses want to make a profit. And for the nurses to make a profit, they want to have higher revenue than their expenses. And that would be the answer to that. That would tell me that you're thinking about it. If you leave that off, you would have told me, okay, you know, they got form of business, but they didn't think about making a profit. I'm giving you the answers. The answer is the basic business equation. That's the answer. But for you to think that these people in the problem need to make a profit is what I grade. All right, everybody understand that? Now, as we add on your cheat sheet, you get an exam from me, and you've got 2 fact situations. Each fact situation is going to have 2 or 3 issues. Okay, so your midterm comes, and you've got 10 issues to choose from. You go through there, and the first fact situation say, well, it's about this. And if I talk about form of business, I probably ought to talk about profit. And they need to market. It's about marketing. So you check on your cheat sheet. I'll never see it, but check on your cheat sheet before you start writing. And then write your test. This is a form of business issue, 5 decision makers. This is a basic business equation issue, profit equals revenue minus expenses. And this is a marketing issue, and you have the 4 P's, which we'll get to later. And then you go to the next question, all right? Maybe the next question is somebody stealing money, and it's a human resources issue. Now, somebody asked me earlier, one of the golfers, one of the internationals, HR is human resources, okay? Does anybody not know that? Okay. So, you know, maybe the second question is somebody that's stealing, and you've got to make an HR decision as to whether you fire them or whether you move them to another location in the company. One of the things that you'll learn in HR is, let's say you got 50 people working for you, chances are a couple of them are in the wrong spot. Okay? No different than a football team, and you got somebody playing the wrong position. The IT person needs to be in accounting, right? And the salesman needs to be in HR. You know, I mean, you got to move people around as part of management. And when you catch people stealing, that's one way to do it. All right, now, so everybody understand how the cheat sheet works. We're all on the same page with that. All right, everybody understand basic business equation. All right, take a picture of it if you need it. So we've done 2 of the 10 that we're going to do. Did y'all get it in the corner? All right. What's the definition of ethics? What do you think about when somebody says, are you an ethical person?
Morality.
Okay, morality. What else? What's the definition of ethics? Just as simple as you can make it. Edwin?
Sort of a code of honors that you would stand by?
All right, a code of honor. And what would be a good code of honor? I like that word.
Like don't steal, don't kill, don't do things that are wrong.
Do the right thing, right? My definition of ethics do the right thing when no one is looking. Do the right thing when nobody's looking. Okay? Obviously, you don't want to kill anybody, but if you are going to kill somebody, you don't want to do it while anybody's looking. But you know, you put your grocery cart back. Somebody else's grocery cart back. Nobody's watching. You're walking across a quad and you pick up a Chick-fil-A package. Nobody's looking. Doing the right thing when nobody's looking. Okay, that's the definition of ethics. Back to the test. Form of business, basic business equation, and this is also an ethical issue. The 3 nurses need to do the right thing when nobody's looking. Okay? Tell me that you're thinking of that. Tell me that if I tell you about a business, one of the things you think about is they need to be ethical. Now, there's 3 types of ethics. I do the right thing because of this scripture. I do the right thing because the Quran says this. I do the right thing because the Torah says this. Okay, my priest says this. This is what I learned in Sunday school. If you can put a religious point to it, then that is a religious standard that backs up your ethics. Somebody said this a minute ago. Moral standard is you know what's right from wrong. We all know what's right from wrong. Okay? We don't have to know it. You know what's right from wrong. When I told you to read about the brewery, and I'm slowly but surely getting papers back, it's not due till Tuesday, but you know when you read about the brewery that some of the workers are doing right and some of them are doing wrong. Okay? It's not a religious answer, it's a moral answer. You just know it. Okay? So if you know what's right or wrong for moral, that's the moral standard. Situational ethics. Situational ethics suck. All right? Situational ethics are the coach promising you that you're going to start the whole week, and the first minute of the game comes, or right before the game, and you say, hey, I've changed my mind, you're not starting, he's starting, she's starting. Situational ethics is not changing your mind. Situational ethics is lying because of the situation that you're in. Okay? You make a decision, you're ethical, and then it's raining, or the other team's better, or your professor's changed, or your mother's died, or your girlfriend's mad at you. You slept too late. Something happened that made you change your ethics. You sleep late, so you tell your professor, I'm sick. All right? That's situational ethics. It's a lie. But because you slept late, you used the situation, and ethically you're not moral. You wouldn't follow, well, you're not a liar. You're a good person. But you don't follow your moral standard because of the situation, you're late in class. When we study management, you will find out that management has very similar to these 3, and there's a situational management that is also bad. Situational management, where somebody's got a flow chart, and there's a vice president, there's a supervisor, and there's a manager, and there's 10 workers, and everything's going great, and one day the boss comes in and changes everything around because the day before he found out a competitor made more money. And so they panic and they change everything at the last minute. Situational management. Well, situational ethics is the same thing. You've got to maintain your ethical standard. This may not be a great example, but I like this example. I'm a golfer, which doesn't mean I like golf. It means I'm a golfer, okay? There's a difference. You know, there's a difference. But I'm a basketball fanatic. I love basketball. I coached basketball for 4 years in high school. And I watch basketball on TV, and there's 10 seconds left, the national championship, and Duke and Connecticut, and the teams come down for a timeout, and both coaches have got a pad, and they're drawing out a play. You know what that is? Situational. How come they didn't have a play back in October that if we ever get to the last 10 seconds, this is the play we will run? So then when they bring the team over, they say, we're going to run the play we learned in October. Once they start drawing something new, they're coaching situational. And they should be prepared enough that they don't have to do that. The next practice test that I give you you will have 3 choices. And I may give you a fact situation that only covers one of them. So don't immediately think you've got to talk about all 3. Your grade does not depend on what you give me back. It depends on what you choose. That's what I grade, is what you choose. If I can teach you to think as to which ones to choose, 2 or 3, then I'm happy. I'm successful. Once you choose it, well, I'm telling you the answers. Once you choose it, you can just look at your notes and write the answers. I give you the answers. The only thing I don't give you is what to think. Okay? Yeah, but we all on the same page?
Yes, sir.